Hello, everyone, and welcome to July 6th Team Conquers Call. And today's title is Expand Your Vision. And before we begin, I must say that I'm very honored and blessed to be part of this team because we saved approximately 34 lives in the month of June. And I know that each one of us is going to match that in the month of July. We have a big purpose and there's a big mission behind us. We cannot let our own thoughts push us back from that. So today's goal with our call is to basically bring us back to basics. And I know you guys know all the announcements, and I know you know that Summit is coming, and I know you know when Super Saturday is coming. And all of that is all fun and dandy. But I feel personally responsible because this week I've been hit really hard in my spirit. And I personally feel as though I have failed our team because I haven't been vocal enough to share with you my vision, perhaps, or our team's mission. And the more I hear these calls and the more I read these books that are popping up at me, is my fault that we don't have a clear vision of where our future is going. So I will share with you a very powerful 20-minute call, that like a video that a coach in our 5-star and above page shared, and she shook me to my core. That call shook me to my core because it is so true. Please mute yourselves, if I can't mute, as I'm gonna share the mute all. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. You see, a lot of us at this point in the business are feeling a little bit on the not dry side, but we have been feeling abandoned. And I'm not going to say we, I'm going to say me. We've been feeling a little lonely in the whole spectrum here of our mission. And part of it is because I am one of those people that I feel like I got this. But I have to stop getting this. And I have to understand that we are a team and that together we are going to move forward. Alone, there's only so much we can do. So long story short, today we're going to work on our individual vision. And we're going to speak about the power that comes from that vision. Because without vision, listen, we could work every single workout program that there is out there. We can drink every pill, everything that comes out on sale. We can read whatever book we want to read, but we will not move forward. We will remain stuck. So, and the reason why we'll remain stuck is because we lack belief. And we don't set ourselves with a vision because we don't believe we're worthy of receiving it. And I speak from personal experience, and I'm not going to get emotional with anybody, but I've been one that has struggled all of my life with being a visionary, or even considering myself to be a visionary. Because to me, a visionary is what we call in Spanish, like un aguajero, a person who talks the talk and doesn't walk the walk, because they're always talking and talking about what they're going to be one day and what they're going to see one day and what they're going to do one day, and they're going to travel the world, and you always see them in the same place and in the same position. And I did not ever want to be that. I've always said that what I say I'm going to do, I'm just going to do it. I don't have to say it before I do it. I just have to do it and then see it, But I'm also a faithful person, and I believe in God, and I believe that if I have faith, and it says that all I need is a faith at the size of a seed of mustard, and if I have a faith as small as a seed of mustard, I will see that anything is possible. But to have faith is to believe even before something has come to fruition. And to have faith is to know that something is even before it became. Like, I was told when my son was born, and we had to wait about 7 years to get pregnant with my daughter. And I couldn't get pregnant with her. But one day at church, a pastor prayed over me, and he prophesied that I was going to have a daughter, that I was going to have a girl. I wasn't pregnant at the time, but I believed in my heart and I believed in my soul that God was going to give me the gift of my daughter. I didn't have her in my hands, but I believed it. So I've been hit hard because I'm a faithful woman, as I said. I have faith, but I have no vision. And I have no vision for fear of failing, for the fear of letting myself down, or for the fear of letting others down. So when I look at our team and I look at where I hoped and where I dreamed our team would be today, it's nowhere near that. And the truth of the matter is, I haven't written my vision down. Till this day, I have not written down the vision I have for the people that God is going to bring to my life, to my team. Till this day, I have not allowed myself to vision myself as a businesswoman. I've only allowed myself to see myself as a mom, as a wife, as a woman, and as a child of God. I don't know what I think I am. Like, I am a businesswoman. I am an entrepreneur, that word. I am, but I've never really put it out there, because I felt like I'll get there when I get there, and it'll prove itself when I get there. But your feet will follow your mind. And I believe firmly that we are not where we need to be because I have failed as a leader, because I haven't painted the vision. I haven't cleared the path so that we know where we're going. So today, that's what I want to do. And I want us all to have a clear understanding on where we stand, because I can invite you to join me on the mission. But unless you understand where we're going, you're going to drop out. You're going to go because you don't have a vision for yourself either. So the purpose of having a vision is so that it's hanging here on your shoulder, and it has to weigh a heavy load. And it has to have a symbol of hunger, and it has to have a symbol of anger. And you have to constantly put yourself in that angry position. At one point in my life, my marriage was at stake. I had opened doors, and the devil came, and he took ownership because I was awake, but I was asleep. And I literally let life run through my marriage. And betrayal came in, and lies came in, and I was asleep and I couldn't see because I chose to sleep. It was too ugly to open my eyes and face the truth. But I had in my heart and in my subconscious the need to know that I was never going to be a statistic, that I was not going to be a divorced mom, a single woman. I, like my mom, was going to take it. I was going to stand whatever I needed to stand, because that's what women do. That's it. Until everything breaks out and you just gotta okay. So it wasn't by choice, but I was left, right? And now I had to stick to that heavy load that carried over my shoulders, which was the need to remain in marriage, was the need to remain in fighting position for what I believed was right, for what I believed I owned, for what I believed the devil had no right to come and take ownership over. So I remained in that fighting position, not knowing what the future held, but understanding that my vision was I was never going to be a single mom. If it was in my power, I wasn't going to be a statistic. I didn't want to be a Christian divorced. I didn't want to. And I had to continue sticking that in my head in order for me to conquer and in order for me to stay focused and do what I needed to do for my family, for my kids. Was I criticized? Absolutely. Was I told to do opposite? Yes. But I needed to go with my heart. I needed to go with what was inside of me. And that's what's going to happen when you have a vision for your future. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to come by your side and they're going to try to tell you that what you're doing is crazy, that you don't need to do that you should just give up. Why are you doing this? It's so hard. Why are you detoxifying your body July 4th? Like, why are you doing that? And that's when your hunger and your anger has to raise up and it has to give you the oomph to go for it. So you don't need talent to have vision. You do not need to have a roadmap to have vision. All you need to have is belief that you are meant for more and that you were designed for something else. And maybe you don't have a mold. Like, for example, I'm blessed. I had a happy parent marriage in my home. I grew up with a husband and a wife. I had an example to look up to. Many of us were born in a single family home, but we're married and we're striving to hold on to that marriage. So maybe you don't know what your future looks like, but I need for you to write down what your life as a wife is going to be. And you have to envision it, like dream big, scary, big goals, things that are going to make you stay there. And when the cookie crumbles, you remember your vision for your future, that you're going to be sitting in a rocking chair with your viejito. And even if he has no teeth, you're going to be sitting there loving on them. Because that's the vision you painted for your future. And if you decided that you were going to live debt-free, girl, nothing in your world. I don't know anybody in my extended family, even in my immediate family, who doesn't live off of like credit card debt. And all they do is they purchase things off of credit card and off of credit card. And then they'll take trips to the Dominican Republic, basically. And they'll spend $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 in a 3-week vacation and come back to pay the credit card debt because they need to live up to the Joneses. You know what I mean? That's not the vision I have for my future. I want vacations, but I want to be able to pay for them cash. So my vision is to have paid vacations, and I want at least 4 vacations a year. I want to do 2 with my husband and 2 as a family. So that would be 4 vacations, because girls got to live. If we have no vision, we're literally walking around in circles. We're not touching the core of the blessing that is waiting for us to really touch upon what we deserve. And I'll read to you a quote that is packed: without vision, the people will perish, and without courage and inspiration, dreams will die. And I'm sure you've heard the phrase that many people die at the age of 25. And they die because they gave up on their dreams, because they gave up on the vision that they had for their future. If you go back to our lives when we were little and we were young and nothing had tainted our innocence, we were visionaries. We were dreamers. We would go through life and not allow anything to step in our way, because we knew that the world belonged to us. What do you mean I can't go to Toys R Us and own the whole store? You mean you got to pay for that? Like, tell Noemi that. She doesn't understand. Like, she thinks I'll go to the ATM machine and the button gives me money. No, Chula, I have to work so that the money comes out of that. You know? So we have to put ourselves in that realm of childlike vision, of childlike dream. And it's not irresponsible. I used to think it was, but it isn't. And the truth of the matter here is, unless we have the vision with the belief that we are worth and that we have an opportunity in our hands, and that what we've been given is a gift that has to be offered to other people, and unless we believe that we are capable of extending that to someone else, unless we believe that no matter who joins us and who abandons us, our purpose doesn't change. That has to stay the constant. And that is going to bring us to the consistency. And most of us lack vision because we haven't remained consistent long enough. And consistency is hard. Like, think about, for those of you who have kids, if you set a rule, like now is summertime and my kids are off from school and iPads are very popular. And if you let a child rule life, they will stay on their technology 24/7. But the rule is you're timed. Your iPad usage is timed. I need to stick to my rule that your iPad use is timed. Because if I break the rule, then I'm not being consistent. And if I'm not being consistent, I won't see the results from that consistent discipline. The same thing happens with our fitness programs. Most of us have failed and have not found the results or the transformation in our bodies because we have not remained consistent long enough to see results. We have not remained consistent long enough to fail when the trainer says, you know, go at the weights at the maximum weight until it hurts, until you feel like you've got to quit. Because sometimes you have to get to that quitting point to get to the turning point. Most of us quit when we see a burger pass us by. Most of us quit when we see that the beer is really cold and it's so hot outside and I should drink the beer because it's only one beer. But the fact is, you committed, you gave your word to your program, and your program and meal plan does not include a beer. So your word and consistency have to remain constant so that you can see that. How do you apply that consistent behavior? You draw a map for yourself. And you think of, okay, so let's say, for example, if you want, your vision is to buy your home cash. Like, you want to have enough money to give a good down deposit and you want your mortgage to be low. That's how I want to buy my house. I know if I want to buy it in less than 5 years, I'm going to shoot to give a big lump sum for my mortgage. And then I'm going to make sure that my mortgage is going to be like, I'm going to give a good down payment. But I'm going to make sure that my mortgage is a low payment so that I can pay it maybe in 10 years. And if Beachbody does really well, I'll pay it in less. But if I have a vision to be debt free, whenever I go to Target, I can't swipe my credit card because I have to think of my vision. I want the house. I can't swipe the card. I want the house. I can't swipe the card. A sacrifice now for a payout later. And I don't see the house right now. I see it really far. But when I'm in Target, I've got to remember I don't have to swipe the card because my vision is bigger than this purchase that I need to make right now. So I don't really need it. I just want it. Same thing happens with our nutrition. I don't need the fries. I don't need the burgers. The way I control my mind is I'm 39 years old. I've eaten everything I want on the face of the earth. A few days that I don't eat it, it's not going to kill me. Actually, at the end of my journey, at the end of this X amount of challenge, that's when I'm going to give myself a treat. But my focus is on the vision I have for myself because I've written it down. You know, my vision for my future in the business is not to rank advance. My vision for this business is not to have a bank account with, I don't know how many zeros. It's not. Because if that were my vision, I would have dropped out a long time ago. Because that's not what has remained in me, in my gut. That's not what helps me wake up angry and hungry every day. You know what pisses me off? When I see women with their head bowed down because they don't have a cent to their name in a bank account. Because they are being mistreated by their spouse. And they've given their sweat, their time, and their life to this person, yet they don't have a penny to lay their head on. Because they've depended on this person for so long. Pisses me off. And I know that if I help a woman become independent and financially free, not that I encourage divorce or that I encourage anything, but I do encourage someone to have a stash so that you don't let anybody step over you. And in fact, that's one of the reasons I work hard, because all my life I depended on someone else. And when the truth came, when shit hit the fan, I had to stick my heel down and believe that I was going to get out of here. And I was going to get out of the situation, and God was not going to fail me, and he was going to provide for me. And he hasn't failed me since. But that was my hunger. So my vision is to help women become independent and know their worth so that they can stand on their own 2 feet and move on in life and do what they need to do with respect. And most of us believe like everything that comes our way. And when there's a death and I'm not like the cruel person. I believe that we have a mourning period. But I get really upset with people who play the victim because there's only so many victims in the world. Somebody's got to be a hero. And you cannot always depend on other people to come and save you because everybody else is too busy with their own shit. So it's time for the people that I come to terms with to let them know you don't need a hero. The hero lies inside of you. And you know how I know? Because I need it. You know when a tea bag needs to be depth into the deep waters, and that's how you know how strong that tea bag is? That was me. So I'm not telling you to be strong and to not be a victim because I don't know what that feels like. I do. But because I know that I found my inner strength and I found the reason to fight for my life as if it was going to be the end of me, I can tell you with conviction that you too will overcome. And our team's name is Team Conquer. And as you know, someone who conquers is someone who has won a fight. Someone who conquers is someone who went into a battle to win. They conquered. They went into to obtain something, a territory. And as you know, when there's bombs and there's a lot of death and there's a lot of, craziness happening, there's ruins. But the conqueror doesn't stay in the ruin. The conqueror stands above the ruin and looks back and says, I'm not going there. And most of us come from ruins. But because we're afraid of what's ahead, we choose to stay in the crumbles. We choose to stay in the shambles. We choose to stay in the ruin, in the mediocre thinking. We choose to stay in the poverty mentality. We choose to stay in the same people that we hung around with when we were in high school. The same people that have not moved from their position, but those are the people who we pay attention to. The way I look at it, I've lost a lot of friends. I've earned a lot of friends. The people that I've lost were meant for that season. You outgrow people because now you're moving up to a different level. And a new level is going to bring a set of people. That's why I'm okay with losing friends. Before, I was very emotionally attached to them. Not anymore. I understood it's only for the season. They're only here for that time. They serve their purpose. We say goodbye. No strings attached. They weren't meant to be. I have nothing to look forward again in that bucket because they're not going to serve me any purpose. And most of us say no to the opportunity that we have in our hands because we want to please the people that were in our past, and their season has passed. Their season has expired, but we choose to remain because we are lacking vision. We have our eyes covered. We're afraid. We've never seen beyond what we have in front of us. For most of us, we've remained in the same neighborhood. So to think that we can own a house with white picket fences and a pool, that's just bizarre. That's like how I would think before this time. You know, that's like being a blah, 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 and all you're doing is talking and no bluff. How can I ever afford that? But I've got news for you. If you stand up and you shake yourself off and you decide that you are going to put your vision, you're going to believe that you will accomplish, and you will stay consistent in the behaviors that will get you there. I promise you that just like my name is Uniris, you're going to celebrate success. But you have to remain. And you don't have to remain for a month. You don't have to remain for 2 days. You have to remain until it breaks. Our breakthrough will come. But first, we got to go through the desert. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The desert is hard. That's a school that not anybody wants to pass through it on a voluntary basis. It is hard. It is a place where you're alone when the people you speak to are deaf. And the only thing you have inside of you is the vision that carries over your shoulder and the thing that makes you angry, that makes you hungry every day. I could have taken my kids to a shelter. I could have gone to live under a bridge. I could have done whatever I needed to do in the moment where I was left without a floor to stand on. But I chose to fight. Wherever I was going to be, I was going to fight for my vision, which was to overcome the obstacle that was in front of me. So I'm not going to make it long because I want us all to have some time to discuss what our vision is, because I want it to be interactive. But I wrote something for us to understand a little bit about who Team Conquer is and my vision for us. And Team Conquer is made of people who have the courage to stand when everyone else is down. That means you're brave. That means you are going to go alone, and you're going to be the last man standing with that pole ahead and saying, I got there. I set out to get to the end of this race and I made it. And here I am. Everybody abandoned me, but I made it to the end of the line. I may not have ran. I didn't probably run as fast as the rest of them, but I made it. And I'm proud of that. We're humble people. Team Conquer is not made of rambunctious people. We're not made of people who are after diamonds and pearls and vanity things. We're not. We're people who lead with heart, who will not sell our integrity or our values for nobody else. I will not poach, which means I will not take another coach away from somebody else so that I can rank advance faster. Because that person worked their ass off to form a relationship with that person. And who am I to take that away from them? It will take me 10 years to form a team of humble people who accept failure as the daily bread and who are willing to learn from their experiences and teach it to others so that they will never have to pass the same lesson again. We are people who care for other people, whether people give us something in return or whether we just give it up because we received it for free. We have gifts and we have talents that nobody has ever explored or nobody has ever seen. But the moment they have an encounter with one of us, their lives will never, ever be the same. Because we have a gift. And it wasn't store-bought. It wasn't bought in, it wasn't given in a school or from a book. It comes from the heart. Because we are go-givers. We are people who serve with our soul. We are people that have favor and grace over our lives. As you've heard Miss Mickey Fernandez speak on Team Eagle, we are chosen. And I believe we are. Everyone who has been given an opportunity to join our team has been chosen for a purpose and for a reason. And everything we do is blessed from above because the ground we step on is holy. And I believe that. And if you don't believe that, you need to find something that you believe so that you can walk. But this is the team you belong to. This is who you are part of. And we are willing to fight for what is ours. We're willing to fight with tooth and nail until we achieve what we have set our hearts to do. And we just love on people. We love on them, we serve them, we give of us, protecting of ourselves, but we give. Because we understand that when you give, your hand is open to receive. And we save lives for generations to come. Because just like we impact a mom, that mom is becoming a better wife and a better member of society. So then the future generation can be the light in the middle of the darkness. And we have a huge job ahead of us. We are the ones who can change the world at least one way or another. And that's who we are. And my mission is to teach health and to teach wellness as a lifestyle by example. I empower women into becoming women, mothers, sisters, better women, better mothers, better sisters, better friends, and better members of their society, of our society. And that's who and what our vision stands for, because that's basically it. So now the floor is open. What I kind of did was I listed, in order for me to understand like how do I come up with a vision for myself, since I I didn't have one. I don't have one. And I know that I am 4 parts. I have 4 parts to me. I am a woman. God made me a woman. That means I have a seed inside of me. So I'm made to multiply. Whether I can have physical kids or not, but I was made to multiply, to duplicate. I'm a mom, so I'm meant to nurture, to be present in the lives of my kids, to be constant for them, to be their security. So I just listed words that came to mind in each label that I have for myself as a person. I am a wife. So my vision for myself as a wife is I want to be sexy. I want my husband to look at me and want me and desire me. I want to feel confident in my own skin. I don't want to have to shut the lights off. I want to be me. I want to have my own financial security. I want to feel like I don't have to ask for permission to buy myself a pair of panties. Like, I want to be free that way. I don't have a 50-50 bank account. We both know how much each of us earns, but I don't have to feel like I have to ask for permission when I'm going to purchase something. We talk about it. And that's how I choose to live. As a wife, I know my worth and I understand my position in my marriage, and I respect and value and give him his place, but I also need to be treated as what I am. And I'm the queen of the house. He's the king. I'm the queen. You want to be treated as a king? Treat me like a queen. Simple as that. And I, as a child of God, I'm called to leave a mark. I'm not called to be like everybody else. Everybody else is hating on each other. Everybody else is criticizing on each other. Everybody else is bad-mouthing on each other. Everybody else is, putting things on blast on Facebook and making believe there's something and they're really not. I'm called to enter a room and to look for the most depressed person and make sure that I can have a conversation with that person and do my part so that that person doesn't stay the same when I leave. So my goal, anywhere I go, is to leave the place a little brighter than I found it. And not because I'm perfect or not because, but that's my calling. And I believe that God called me to do that. And the word impact. I'm called to impact. How I'm going to impact, God only knows. But I am called to impact. And if I have a vision for who I want to be, I had to think of someone. And it's not J-Lo. I thought at one point in my life, the vision for my future was to be like J-Lo. And a lot of people say that physically my butt looks like hers and, my hair, whatever, looks like her. But there's this woman, her name is Tracy Morrow, and she's a Beachbody coach. She's one of the founding coaches of Beachbody. And she represents who I one day want to be. And she's a woman who adopts children. I may not adopt children, but I do see myself serving in an orphanage, in places where children have been abused, battered. I want to help single moms. And I always want to keep close to me, serving with my heart and serving like Christ would serve. And whenever you become a leader that has a team that sprinkles way below, down you, doesn't matter who it is, but each person that is a cell of your team is a human being that has a heart that beats, that deserves to be treated without judgment and with love. And love is not an emotion, is in action. So we're not waiting to feel the need to love. We are called to act on love. Those are two different things, and I live by those words. And they help me stay at peace with everyone who surrounds me. So I know this has been a very deep call, that I needed to let it off my chest, to feel good that I shared with you my vision. And there's more to come, I guess, because that's been said and I wrote it down. So God knows. I know you guys are talkers, so the floor is all yours. Talk. You can unmute yourselves to talk. I don't know if Diana Bernardo is here. We had a conversation through chat, and you had some ideas or some questions on vision and writing your vision. So this is a great opportunity to talk.
Me, Diana, you're saying?
Yes, Diana.
No, I think that the message of vision stood out to me a lot because I think that I mean, we have a lot to focus on. We're focusing on our own health and nutrition and our own journey, but also coaching, and coaching is something that I want really bad. But if I don't have a vision, I don't feel like I could be consistent, because then what am I going towards, you know? So now that I'm off from work for the summer, I wanted to really focus on my vision, what I want. And you're right, like I didn't write it down, or I didn't even say it out loud about what I want in life, because it sounds so out there. And that is so true. You said about, especially I personally, like I'm Dominican too, so it's like our family is like, they say, I can't even think of the word now, but it's just like it's like a negative connotation for a dreamer. You know, it's like
mucho pum y poco chocolate.
Yeah, fantasioso, like fantasy.
Fantasioso, yeah. Like those are the all negative things that I've had.
Like how creating a vision has been suppressed. It's like, it's almost like a bad thing, because we were raised to be workers, you know, and to work hard, yes, but not to have these visions and things like that.
And to follow rules, and when you're left to believe that you can make your own rules in a sense, because people think like, oh, so now you're gonna go beyond and now be a rebel. Yeah, you could be a rebel, be weird, be unique, be who you want to be, but determine your own rules and what your life is gonna look like. You know, just don't do what other people do because they've done it. Do what feels right for you. You know?
And I think that always, like, we always talk about our why, but our why is like, it's under our vision. Like, our vision is the big picture. And then our why changes, but our vision doesn't. So that's why I think it's important, because sometimes we lose our why, or even if we're doing it for our children, but even when you say you're doing it for your children, sometimes it gets really hard. And you look at them and you're like, they're fine, they're okay. You know, like, they'll be fine. But when you vision, it pulls deeper, it tugs at your heart more, and it helps you stay long term when it gets hard.
I think you're right. I think it takes looking at, yes, because when you start, your vision may be, oh, I'm going to do this because I'm going to earn, you know, enough to cover the cost of my Shakeology. I'm going to do this because I can help my sister lose some weight. I'm going to do this. And as you get deeper in, you start like peeling the layers off, and you start understanding, no, this is the reason why I'm doing it. And at the end of the day, it's really the world. It's as big as the world that surrounds you. It's not just your kids. It's more than that. And, you know, sometimes people are like, your why has to make you cry. It does. And if it doesn't make you cry, then you haven't gone deep enough. And for me, I have multiple whys. Like, I could spend hours. And the reason why I am so invested in this opportunity is because I have seen the change and the value in it in my life, you know? And I don't hold back from sharing it with other people, because I believe I actually would do a disservice to someone if I didn't offer this to them. Because people think, oh, all you do is work out and drink a shake. No, dear. This is more than that. If you allow it to be. Because if you put up the guard and you don't dig in, that's all it's going to be. Mm-hmm. But if you dive deep, I never knew that I had vision and I was allowed to dream. Mm-hmm. Then you start to explore and become adventurous. And I'll be honest with you, I had to go back to my roots, and my roots is in my faith. And it's going to be my 7th week reading a devotional every single day. And I cannot explain to you what has happened in my life. Just because I've applied those 10, 15 minutes of a spiritual reading and applying it to my life every single day of my day. Every time I read it, I read it. So that's God. That's it. Giselle said, I think kids 8 are sleeping now, so I can't speak. Or she's putting them to sleep. I've always been a visionary, and growing up was always the oddball, the weird one who prays about everything. God planted a vision in me, and I know it will happen, all in His timing. What I need to completely let go of is fear. Mm-hmm. And fear is your biggest liar. And the way fear is a liar, because put yourself, and I know that like we would do anything for our kids, but if you were in harm's way, like I was camping and I was emotionally drained when I left the camping grounds, because I was ready to attack anything that came against me. So, and I'm a fear-ass crazy lady. Like, I'm afraid of ants. I'm afraid of cockroaches. I'm afraid of everything. And at that point, I was like, whatever comes, I'm killing it. Like, fear is a liar. And if you let it get to you, it's going to control you. What are you afraid of? You're afraid of what people will say to you. And the people who will criticize you have not changed a bit, because they're stuck in fear. So they're waiting for you to open their eyes so that they can then take the leap of faith. But somebody's got to go first. And unfortunately, it has to be you, because you've been chosen. Unfortunately.
You know, something that you've told me time and time again, that whenever I'm stuck, is to work on myself. And that's the reason I love the name Team Conquer, because you're constantly conquering something every single day when you make yourself work out. You have breakthroughs every time you make your body do something that your mind is fighting. So you're conquering that every single day. And then every time you I've been pushing myself to call people on the phone. And I noticed that I'm going to contact somebody and I tell myself, oh, they're going to say this. I'm like, I'm answering myself. Like, stop doing that. Like, just go out and
to me twice today.
Put it out there. Like, today I reached out to this girl, right, that I've been talking to for months, but I'm like, have I directly invited her? And the answer was no. I have chit-chatted with her. I've told her about what I'm doing, but I have not invited her. So I called her. You know what she tells me? That her fiance just broke up with her. That all these things that just happened, and she's telling me all these things, and I'm like, am I a horrible person for still wanting to invite her? And then I was like, no, I listened to her. We talked it out. I shared my story with her because I had an engagement that broke a long time ago. So whatever, and I was like, okay. Now's the time. I was like, wow, this is really weird. You just throw me a curveball here. I wanted to talk about something. I feel really weird about it. So I just said how I felt. But I really have this urge to ask you to join me, because we go back to going to the Y. Like I told her, 10 years ago, we used to go to the YMCA and I would see her there. So it brought me back to, how long I've been wanting to be fit and still haven't done it. So I'm like, I brought it back to that for me to see her still struggling too. So let's do this together. And then she was like, think about it, whatever. And I told her, I'm like, you know what, at the end of the day, we've been through every diet, everything. It's if you want to. And she's like, you know what, you're right. I do want change. She's like, I want change. I want something different. Like, she just went through this thing in her life and she wants change. So I'm like, what if I would have never called her? What if I would have never said anything? So it's like you can't get stuck in your head.
So my advice is this, and I've been doing exactly the same thing. I've been speaking to people since like April, and we do this thing called the art of recruiting, right? So we'll see somebody that looks like a person that you want on your team or that you want to help because they have sort of a characteristic of something that you feel you connect with. So you send them a message, and literally, like, the message says something like, hey, oh my God, thank you so much for liking my post or supporting my journey. I really stepped out of my comfort zone and I appreciate, your support. And then usually automatically they will reply back to you. And that gives you an open segue to have a conversation with them. So I've been having this conversation with this beautiful person. She's like into beauty and things. And to me, she looks fit. So I'm like, she's just a beautiful person. I can invite her to the coaching opportunity because it looks like she doesn't even need fitness. And that's me prejudging and assuming. So I've been chit-chatting with her, as Diana says, since April. Today I was like, yo, I have not invited her literally to the group. So I said, you know what? I'm going to ask for a referral. So I go in into the message, and she just recently celebrated a birthday. So I said happy birthday to her. And by the way, can I ask for a favor? If you know of anybody, because I know she works in a beauty salon. If you know of anybody who's looking to lose weight or maintain their weight, please send them my way. And she replies back with the monkey emoji. She's like, well, that person would be me. Would you help me? And I wanted to slap myself 3 times. So then after that, I said, you know what? Every time I think this in my head, I'm going to go ahead and send a message. Because I am assuming that this person doesn't need it. It's almost like when you've heard this before, you go to the restaurant and the waitress brings you the bill of the food before she even asks you if you want coffee or dessert. Like, I'd rather kill you. You didn't ask if I wanted carrot cake? Like, for real? No, what a bad service. Like, make sure you ask me if I want carrot cake, tiramisu, or chocolate mousse cake. I really do want it. I don't need it, but I want it. So you don't want to provide bad service to people.
And every time you face your fear, you are a conqueror. And that feeling is really good. So as scary as it is to be afraid, it's that much more awesome to conquer your fears.
So listen, guys, I need you all, since you're also talkative, thank you, Diana. I need you to please share your vision in the team page. I think I've poured myself enough out with you guys. I mean, look at my face. Do something and write a mission statement. Write your vision down and share it with someone. If you don't feel comfortable, you should feel uncomfortable, because if it makes you uncomfortable, then good for you. If you have to make it in a video format, do it, because the only way to get comfortable is by getting uncomfortable first. And let's just rock life, because that's all we have. We can only control our own self. Our circumstances are going to come and they're going to want to run over us. But we're the ones who have to stand up and be like, I got this, for our own good. Alrighty?
I have a question.
Dale.
What tips can you give us to find our vision?
Girl,
You have
I've fought this for like almost 4 years. It's been 4 years, and I now, today, write this down in a calendar somewhere. Make sure you inscribe it. No, in all honesty, there is a way. Like, Lewis Howes speaks of, finding your vision. Like, if you know that's an area that you lack in, start thinking about those things that have held you back. Like, I went back to my childhood. I went back to things that really helped me be in a good energy and a good vibration. And usually it always has been helping. I've always been the helpful person. I've always been the happy person. I've always been the serving person. So for me, That helped me kind of define it. You're going to listen to a lot of like, it's going to come at the right timing. Little things are going to come and pop in your head and help you understand what your vision is. But you just have to start writing things down. And like, you're not like, you know, when you think about, you look at a couple and you're like, I don't want to be that. But then you look at another couple and you're like, oh, they inspire this and they make this, oh, one day I want to be like, that's your vision. You know, you go to someone's home and you get a jive from their home. Like, you know, there's an energy somewhere and you're like, oh, damn, I don't like what they did with that kid. I really don't want that. So you write it down and your vision is the opposite. You see what I'm saying? Physically, like I knew how I want to be as a woman because I've seen examples of what I don't want to be. So I know what I want to by looking at what I don't. Do you see what I mean? And just surrounding yourself always by the people you aspire to be and paying attention to the way they act, paying attention to the books they read, paying attention. Like whenever I hear a top coach speak, like right now you're reading a book that I have in my list to read, which is The Girl Code.
Girl Code. Mm-hmm.
That one I want to read. But before that one, I have to read Find Your Extraordinaire. And I purchased the physical book from Find Your Extraordinary by Jessica Heron. Because I read The Go-Giver, and that helped me understand that I wasn't wrong in helping others in this business. Go-Giver, Sell More, that one helped me understand it. And then there, I started to visualize my actual vision for my future team. You know what I mean? And a lot of characteristics stick with you. So that's what I mean. This guy is also good. Lewis Howes, he speaks about your vision. And
I listen to his podcast because he has his podcast.
And he has an exercise in the book. So how do you create your vision? I stopped there because I was scared of writing it down. And it's as literal as like thinking about what would a perfect day look like to you. And it's not something you do overnight, but it does take time and it's worth it. So.
I think also like a vision is made up of all your little aha moments compiled together. And like when you're reading all these books, sometimes it's like, let's say like You're a Badass, I've read it twice. And sometimes it's been like months after, like I've shared with you, that something clicks from what I wrote about, like read about, like my subconscious and my you know, beliefs that hold me back. And all those little nooks and crannies that builds your...
And also, if pictures work for you, there's you can do a vision board. Like start there. Start with a vision board. Like people use it to like places they want to travel to. People use it for like the picture of the house they want, a picture, you know, vision. You know, your eyes see it and it becomes ingrained. As Giselle said, there's a training where there are words of affirmations that you read to yourself, and that's your vision. Like if you are not a believer that you are a woman and that you are worth a lot, like write down, I am worthy because, and then list affirmation words and then repeat them to yourself every single day. That's a way to find your vision, because unless you believe in yourself that you're capable, that you have what it takes, there's no use in writing a vision because you don't believe you can achieve it. You have to believe with all your heart that you are made for more and that you have what it takes. Thank you, Nicole. You've been on for 2 hours, girl. You're a trooper. We were on a different call before this. So I don't want to hold you guys up any longer. I do know that this was necessary. I feel a big load off my shoulders. I feel lighter. I might have lost 3 pounds. But let's do this. We have 6 months left to the year and let's just go press forward. All right, guys, I love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thank you.